Elon Musk was in Wisconsin over the weekend. There's a huge Supreme Court election happening tomorrow. We'll get into the details of that a little bit later in this segment. But first, I want to show you what Musk did here at a big rally to try to drum up the vote and get people energized about making sure that the left doesn't take over the Wisconsin Supreme Court. He brought out one of his colleagues. His name is Mr. Gracias, I think Antonio Gracias, who's worked with Musk on various ventures. He's brought Gracias into the Department of Government Efficiency effort. And what he uncovered with regard to illegal immigrants and Social Security fraud is mind-boggling. Take a look at this.
So, Antonio, can you tell us what you, Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of it.
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already, but this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah.
It is, and we're going to pause on this mind-blowing chart for a second. All right, so those are the years that Joe Biden was president of the United States, which you see in front of you there. And as he just said, these are Social Security numbers assigned to non-citizens, which presumably the largest percentage of those non-citizens are in the country illegally or entered illegally and then were given asylum, which it's still, they're not citizens, they're not green card holding residents. They certainly shouldn't have a Social Security number, right? Social Security number is your gateway into anything. And most states now assign driver's license to illegal immigrants or non-citizens. So you get that driver's license, you get that Social Security number, you can have a bank account, you can get a job, you can vote. Frankly, I mean, if you lie about your citizenship, which is pretty hard to check against if you've got one of these cards, this is astounding and never talked about and never revealed. And look at the spike. Look at the spike in numbers here, starting at 270,000. The fiscal year, by the way, is only half of the year. Part of it is in 2020, but I'm sure that the robust numbers really started good. And we're projected now for fiscal year 25 to get into the 900,000 range. That's because there were already people who were funneled into the system before Trump even became president, because the fiscal year begins on October 1st in the federal government. Look at 2024, which happened to be an election year. Over 2 million non-citizens issued Social Security numbers. And we're told by pointing this out, by the way, that Musk is trying to ruin Social Security. No. They've ruined Social Security by making it available to people who aren't even citizens in this country, who aren't even legally in this country. I mean, what's the point of being an American at this point? Take a look at how this plays out, and they'll explain exactly how this not only leads to fraudulent benefits, Social Security benefits, widow benefits, disabled benefits, Medicaid benefits, healthcare that you're paying for, all of these benefits that these non-government organizations, these immigration lawyers who are funded by the government, by the way, to help these illegal immigrants maximize the benefits that they're entitled to, thanks to the Democrats who rigged this system. Watch a little bit more here. It's maddening.
Just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now. That work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from DC to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
All right, three great important points there and myths that the mainstream legacy media that's broken. You don't watch them anymore. That's why you're watching us and your other favorites on this platform. I appreciate that. But what you hear in those legacy media outlets is that, first of all, these are dunces who don't know what they're doing and they're just going in with a wrecking ball and they have no idea. They're stupid. Look at this guy. Obviously, he's rational, he's normal, he's sensitive, he's empathetic, and he's just trying to fix our country. All right, that's number one. Number two, you got to be a xenophobic bigot and a racist. Yeah. So Antonio Gracias, a legal immigrant from a legal immigrant family in this country, is a xenophobic racist. I'm sorry, bullshit. No, you don't have. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with xenophobia. It has to do with law and order and the rule of law. Legal immigrants who went through the hard process and expensive process of coming to this country legally, they are oftentimes the most outspoken opponents to this illegal immigration scheme that Democrats like to prop up. And thirdly, you'll hear it all the time that federal employees hate this. Federal employees are outraged. Federal employees are terrified. Federal employees, no. Actually, there are really, really good people who are civil servants who actually have dedicated their lives to working for our government, who know what's wrong. They know who's on the job that doesn't need to be there. They know that their staff is padded way bigger to carry a bunch of dead weight. They know where the waste, fraud, and abuse is. And many of those people, I do a radio show in Washington, D.C. It's the morning show on our conservative talk radio station, WMAL. A lot of my listeners are federal employees. They'll call into my show. They'll say, I don't mind Doge because we do have waste. We do have fraud. When Doge walks in the door, those federal employees say, come here, I got to show you something. I've been screaming about this for years. So those are three myths, and you will never hear that. You will never hear those myths exposed as the fraudulent lies that they are in the legacy media, but you just heard it right here. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which is to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people, okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you've got asylum through one of these pathways, and we've mapped the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview. No ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example.
All right, let's explain what you just heard. So first of all of these people who have been put in the system, they're also triggered to max pay minimum contributions. Contributions, obviously, is what you're paying out of your paycheck to help fund these entitlement programs that are designed were set up for American citizens to be able to help us in retirement through Social Security or death benefits if somebody that you rely on was on Social Security and died, et cetera, or disability payments. And then, of course, Medicaid. If you're under the poverty line, you can't afford your health care. This is all set up through Obamacare. Remember when Obama promised that illegal immigrants would not be eligible for free health care under Obamacare? Gee, how did this happen? And the way these people get into the system is they come into you just heard the explanation as to how they get their work documents, but then there's these non-government organizations who get paid by the federal government to help facilitate these people to get their benefits. When was the last time you're an American citizen? You work your ass off in this country. You work hard, you follow the rules, you follow the law, you pay your taxes. Has anyone ever pulled you aside and say, you know, you're eligible for a lot of federal benefits that are paid for through tax dollars. Here, let me help shepherd you through the paperwork and the red tape. Anyone ever do that for you? Hell no. But your tax dollars are paying for nonprofits to do the exact same thing for people who are in the country illegally. Oh, you're in the country illegally? Oh, come with us. We'll help you out. Here's where you get your benefits. Here's your credit cards. Here's your debit cards that are funded by the government. Here's your cell phone funded by the government. Here's all of the things. Here's your work card. Here's your Social Security benefits, and we'll max it out for you in the system. And as you just heard, over 1 million people getting free health care that you're paying for in the system. And you wonder why these entitlement programs are upside down and set up like Ponzi schemes and are about to go bankrupt. And nobody wants to fix it. And you got these idiots protesting in front of Tesla dealerships, trying to drive down the stock price for Tesla, not even knowing what they're talking about, because this is the system that's been rigged and set up for failure and set up for non-citizens to be able to benefit from them. This is absolutely maddening. And Musk will take it now in terms of turning it into a vote.
We've gone through on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already.
All right. So listen, there's more to this, and you should check out and search for the full video of this presentation. It's great. But that's just a little snapshot of some of the work Doge is doing. But also the reason that this is in Wisconsin and the reason that this is valid right now is because tomorrow is this special election in Wisconsin for a Supreme Court seat. And you'll see headlines today. Elon Musk is trying to buy a Supreme Court seat. All this outside money in Wisconsin. Musk is buying the seat. Just so you know, the liberal running for this seat, it's nonpartisan theoretically, but there's a liberal and there's a conservative. The liberal, her campaign has been funded to the tune of 77% outside Wisconsin money. 77% of her campaign funds have come from outside the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so don't talk to me about how some outsider is trying to buy the seat. That's all Soros money. It's all the same organizations and political action committees that are happy with this kind of stuff that you're laying out there. And the reason that he laid this out in Wisconsin is because the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court of Wisconsin, has the ability to reject or approve whatever voter regulations the state of Wisconsin legislature puts through. When Governor Walker was in charge of the state, they put some robust photo IDs and various other regulations. You know how during COVID, they had all these drop boxes all through Wisconsin. And then this last time around, the legislature said, no, we don't need those drop boxes anymore. They're ripe for fraud. So let's get rid of them. And then the Supreme Court comes and, no, you have to have the drop boxes. They try to determine all these things. They're also going to redraw the congressional lines. The Supreme Court justices in Wisconsin will, and they'll tinker with the current makeup in the House of Representatives, which right now has a majority Republican representation. They'll change that. I mean, this is what's going on in our society right now. This is going on in this country. And if you're in Wisconsin and you're watching, dude, if you voted for Trump because you wanted him to secure the border, get a handle on illegal immigration, and deport the people who are in this country illegally, it's a no-brainer, man. Because you elect this woman, you put her on the Supreme Court, she will undo all of those efforts. The reason that you voted for Trump will be undone by her. And this is the dream. This is what Democrats are trying to do. This is exactly what they're trying to achieve in this country. And it's got to end. And by shining a light on it, by exploring, and actually, this is why they're all freaking out about Musk and Doge and Trump going in and looking and exposing with full transparency exactly what's going on in these government organizations. Because as soon as the American people see what it is, they're going to be outraged. That's why they're freaking out. It's not because they don't like Musk. It's not because they don't like Tesla. They love electric cars. No, it's because they don't want you to know what they've been doing with your tax dollars. That's the bottom line. And that right there, huge fraudulent activity. Rubber stamped by Joe Biden and the Democrats when they're in charge. And it's why we can't let them get back in charge again.